Justin Thomasello here, as always, with Christopher Gold.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going, man?
Going good. Literally just remembered to put my mic down.
It's only episode 93, so we're just getting started. So, we make common mistakes like
just,
this all the time.
Just getting warmed up, Gotta accelerate into that groove. That's what the past 92 episodes have been, just warm up, get to this point.
Speaking of warm up, we are currently in the middle of a heat wave right now.
Heat wave is underselling it. It is blistering hot out. I'm pretty sure the sun is crashing into the earth within the next few days or so, and that's why it's gotten as hot as it is out there. Otherwise, I'm not a meteorologist, so I don't have any good explanation for what's happening outside, but it is super, super hot.
No, I think you're probably right with the sun crashing into the earth kind of thing. I mean, at least that's definitely what it feels like. It's like, it is oppressive at like literally every sense of the word. Like the other day I walked outside and I just felt like this weight on me. I guess when you go from like the air conditioned dry inside and then go outside to like the incredible hot humidity, it like just feels like you're in like a different gravity zone or something. Like it's uncomfortable.
It's awful. Like literally I get dressed for work, and in my very short walk from my front door to the car, I get inside and I am already, it's like I've dropped into a pool. Like I am soaked. It is gross. It is very grody.
You wear a thong to work, so even sweating in that.
Yeah, and it gets all over the seats. It gets all over my office seats. My coworkers hate it. They absolutely hate it. But I'm me. I can't change who I am. What? I'm going to change myself for the corporate or overlords who pay my checks. Yes, I am actually going to do that. I'm very poor.
Chris, I would call you coming into the office in a thong quite annoying.
I would call that an HR violation, but yes, that is also very annoying. If any one of my coworkers came in wearing a thong, that would be wildly annoying and also very uncomfortable, both for them and for me. But that is an excellent segue into our topic for today, which, as you all know, this is Press A Repeatedly, 93 episodes in, and we are a video game podcast. And today, Justin and I are going to talk about some annoying video game characters that we can recall, some of the ones who have stood out over the years just for being the ones to get under our skin, the ones who just drive us nuts, the ones that we wish we could just reach through the screen and strangle, but technology is just not there yet for us to do so. So we're going to talk about those lovely creatures in just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure as anybody who's ever played video games, there are plenty of characters out there, and plenty of some that are just so annoying you kind of wish you had the opportunity to kill them, even though they're in your party, but well, you just can't. And I do want to read, Chris and I, before every episode, we put together a list of show notes for us to reference during the episode. And Chris wrote at the top of the notes here, Chris and Justin discuss some of the more annoying video game characters they can think of, including your mom.
It was a layup, honestly. It was the easiest joke in the world to make. I couldn't resist throwing that one in there.
Yeah, so kudos. That was a very good one.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, kind listeners, we are not going to talk about your mom on today's show, even though we are well within our rights to do so.
And we could do a whole episode about it if we wanted to.
You goddamn right. But you know what? We're good and kind people, so we're not going to talk about what an annoying bitch your mom is.
So that's going to be, our topic later on this episode. But before we get to what are you playing, Chris, there is some controversy that we have to discuss.
Yes. there is, it's time to address the elephant in the room.
Yes.
So, last episode, as you all may recall, we had the lovely Elena Tomasello, your cousin, my girlfriend, on the show, and she provided us with the Summer Quiz Done Quick, which was in honor of Summer Games Done Quick.
Great quiz, a lot of fun, really good questions.
Oh, we had a blast.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the very last question, it ended in a tie, so we were forced to resort to the tiebreaker question. And Elena's source that she had used to create the question provided her with faulty information. Wasn't her fault. It was just that the site that she used was just incorrect.
Yeah,
And
believe it or not, something was wrong on the internet.
who would have ever thought? So the last question was related to, I think it was Kirby and Yoshi make appearances in this Zelda game. And Justin, you had buzzed in and you answered Link's Awakening, which initially was marked as incorrect. But as we later came, after we finished recording, we did some further investigation, and we determined that that answer actually was correct. So at the end of that quiz, even though I had provided the incorrect answer, which was initially marked correct, of Wind Waker, and I was declared the winner of the quiz, that is not the case. The real winner, I forfeit, I forfeit my victory, and I yield my winnings to Justin, who, for providing the actual correct answer to the quiz, is the real and true champion of the Summer Quiz Done Quick.
Yeah, it just so happened to go all the way to the final tiebreaker question. And, you had me and Chris just haplessly reaching for any Zelda game we could think of to try and get it right. It doesn't matter. Like, it was still a great time. I'm very happy to rightfully get the Laney Law.
The Laney Law, yes.
And to give you the Laney Bail. Oh, no, I get the Laney Bail.
And I get the Laney Law, which
Right.
means, you get the bail, which means that any indie arcade game of your choosing, you can only play for 5 minutes. So if you're playing something that's just utter dreck, and it's
Yes.
obvious from the get-go, then you can bail after 5 minutes. Now, for me, you can assign me some dreck to play, and I have to play it for an hour. And that's a game, again, of your choosing, Justin. You get to choose when I get to play a game, when I have to play a game for 1 full hour, rather than the usual 30 minutes.
Yeah, so it's a win-win for me, a lose-lose for Chris,
As it should be.
and fun for everybody else.
It really is fun for everyone else to watch me suffer.
So you better watch it whenever you assign me with the indie arcade later, because I could throw it right back at you.
No, I think you're gonna enjoy this one. We'll get to that in a little bit, but
Yeah, we are getting ahead of ourselves here a little bit.
Yeah, but just know the bottom line is Justin was right and I was wrong.
Yes, preach it to the masses.
Hear ye. Just seeing like a montage, like newspapers spitting.
Yeah. Hear ye, in the latest episode of Press A repeatedly, and the crowd's like, what?
Press A what? It's a podcast. People are like, oh, who gives a shit? And they keep walking.
A what, Kaz?
We are very successful and good at what we do.
Yes, absolutely. So that being said, all that cleared up, we have our topic laid out for later. Let's talk about some games. Chris, what are you playing?
Well, Justin, as you know, not a lot of people out there know. I mean, well, our listenership probably all knows because our listenership is extremely small and composes mostly of our friends. But in case you're not one of our friends and you don't know, I'm in the process of moving right now. So my apartment's kind of a mess. I've been busy with all sorts of moving related activities, so I haven't had nearly as much time to play games as I would have liked, but I was able to squeeze in a little special something during that time. And that is a game that's really been making the rounds as of late. This game is The Outer Wilds.
Oh, yes. So this game definitely has been making the rounds. A lot of game journalists that are playing it now have very good things to say about it. I myself have not yet picked this up, but I know a few other members of PAR are playing it. You obviously are playing it, so lay it out on the line, man. How is it?
So, I love this game. This game is a lot of fun. It's the type of game. I had tweeted this like before, briefly when playing it. It's a type of game where you think like, oh, I'm gonna hop in and maybe play for like a minute or two, and you just sucks you in. Like you are just playing like forever and ever. The main plot of the game is now, Justin. This game might not necessarily be for you in particular, but I'll get to that in a second because it includes a key mechanic which I am well aware that you hate more than anything. So
Intriguing.
I'll get to that in a second. So the game, you are an alien and you are living among your fellow aliens on an alien planet, and you are an astronaut. Essentially. So you're a small band of aliens. They're kind of sequestered in the woods. It looks like the spaceport, the space station you're staying at is pretty rudimentary. Like you're kind of in a jungle area. So all the platforms and buildings are kind of like made of wood. Everything's nailed together. It's a lot of palm trees all over the place. Oh, is it? I don't remember. It's been a while since I played. It might be just a regular forest. But either way, you're in the woods somehow. And you have to, basically you're said like, oh, you're doing your training. Oh, here's what you got to do. And, you got to learn how to jump and climb over things. It's all in a first person perspective. But it's not like a shooter in the traditional sense. It's just a first person like exploration.
Yeah, first person exploration. Right?
Yeah. So you make your way to, like, they tell you, oh, go to the observatory, then, go here, go there. And there's all sorts of other aliens, similar aliens to you. Like, they've all kind of got, like, purple heads and, like, 3 eyes. They've got, like, long, weird fingers. It's all weird looking, but everyone talks normal. No one's like, oh, hello, Arthur, how are you? No, everyone's just like, hey, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so, everything's pretty cool. So you go. So at first, I started out, I was just fucking around, right?
Yeah.
And I was jumping around and I fell into a hole. And I died. Like it felt like I fell for a mile, and I looked down, and there was just like this ball of flame, and I hit it, and I hear, and then it just the thing like game over, and then the credits started playing, and I was like, okay, I see.
I imagine the like elder aliens as like telling you how to move around and like do this and do that, and go over there and check out the observatory, and then you just fall into a hole that's miles long and then just never see you again.
Yeah, they just like watch me fall down, and they're like, crap.
Where's the new guy? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe he went to the bathroom, take a leak. I don't know. So I come back to life, and I'm at the same campfire where you start out, and there's some guy there who's like poking the fire with a stick. And what's cool, it's like a real subtle mechanic to teach you how to interact with things. There's a bunch of sticks there and a bag of marshmallows. You can like pick up one of the sticks, spear the marshmallow, and you can like then hover it over the fire, and if you get it too low, then the marshmallow is going to catch on fire, and you have to press a button to blow on it. But you can also it like set it a little bit above, and it'll brown the marshmallow a little bit. Like it'll actually toast it rather than burning it. So the game is actually teaching you very subtly how the game works. You could be a little precise. You can rotate things a little bit, get the marshmallow nice and cooked on all sides, and
Yeah.
that sort of mechanic is sure to come up in later parts of the game as you explore. So as you're making your way up, and it's one of these things where like there's these wooden platforms that go up and up this cliffside, and as you go past, there's different things like, oh hey, here's a 0G training center over here. You should stop in there real quick. So I did that, did some 0G. It was a little tough to control, but that's what the training is for.
Yeah.
So hop out of there, go to the observatory, and I pick up the launch codes from the observatory so that I can actually launch my rocket into space.
Okay.
And as I pass it, there's a statue. And one of the scientists there is like, oh, we're studying these statues. Hopefully your mission into space can help us understand more about what these statues mean and what they represent, blah, blah, blah. As I'm leaving, the statue turns and, like, glares at me, and all of a sudden, like, all of these images start, like, flying past me, and they're all images of what I've been doing up to that point in the game. Like
your life flashing before
yeah,
your
like
eyes.
my life was flashing before me, and then it just stops, and I'm back at the statue, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I walk to the scientist guy, and I was like, and you can talk to him, like, you have different dialogue options, and you're like, did you just see that? And they're like, see what? So like, oh, okay, this is gonna be one of those types of games.
Yeah.
So I hop in my rocket, I get the launch codes, I hop in the rocket, and it's a very involved process. Like, you can't just press a button and then go. Like, you have to press one key to make your right thrusters go, and then you have your left thrusters, you have your up thrusters, the down thrusters, and you have to launch yourself into the sky, into space, and then push yourself forward towards any one of the orbiting bodies that are kind of orbiting your planet, because they're all different planets, or they're moons, it's a sun, and you have to jet your way towards one of them and just explore. I mean, that's basically the name of the game, is get to one of these, just explore as much of the area as you can.
Okay. How long did it take you to get comfortable to like ship flying controls?
It took, I guess it took like a few minutes, because they also do subtly teach you how to control the ship as you're making the way up. There's, when you're going to the observatory at the start, some kid has like a little model ship who's like, oh, I built like a prototype. If you want, you can like try to fly it and land on one of those test platforms out there. So you can actually fly this little model, and it's the same mechanics as flying your ship. And it teaches you, like, okay, you can't just land hard on a surface, otherwise you're going to damage the ship. You have to, like, be real careful and let yourself down gently. You have to make sure that your left and right rockets are keeping yourself steady. So it's definitely not, like, a very simple process.
That's awesome. I didn't know it was that involved.
It is very involved.
Involved. I did say that weird.
It's okay. So at first I was just like, I just jetted up. I was just going up and up and up, and I was like, how high up can I go? All of a sudden, my ship bursts into flames because here, Justin, I launched myself into the sun. I was just rising up into the sky. I'm like, how far up can I go? Like, I see like these planets in front of me, and I'm like, oh, maybe I can go there, maybe I can go there. All of a sudden, the entire thing bursts into flames around me. I'm like, oh, and the guy's screaming. He's like, oh. And then it was just, and then I was dead.
I can imagine like the developers watching you play, and they're like, wow, I didn't know you could die that way.
But now here's the thing, though. So I died. And then So I died, right?
Okay.
But then, like, the game reloads itself. Before, it told me, like, oh, you're dead, and it rolled the credits. This time, it fades away, and it fades me back in to
The statue?
not the statue, the
Uh,
campfire where I first started out. And the guys there poking the thing with sticks, he's like, oh, hey, big day today. Like, the same dialogue he gave me at the start. And now I have a new dialogue option that I can say to the guy. I can say, like, did I just die? And I say it to him. He's like, what? Like, you've been like training too long. Like your head's all like cooped up. You're thinking crazy things. It's like, well, you better go get those launch codes. And I check my inventory. I have the launch codes. I don't have to go back to the observatory because I already have them. He was like, oh, when did you get those? Well, never mind. I guess it doesn't matter. Just go launch in the rocket. So the statue like saved my progress.
okay.
The statue saved my progress up to that point, so I didn't have to go through all that all over again to get the statue, to get the launch codes. So I just go immediately to the launch platform. I fly into the sky, not too high, and this time I set course for one of the planets that's ahead of me. So I jet over there, and there's like an auto. There's like an auto fly mode where it can launch you up to the planet, and then when you're like 700 meters above the surface, it stops, and then you can go into landing mode and then land on the planet's surface, and you get to look down, and then you can control the thrusters and everything, make sure you're not coming down really, really fast. You don't bounce too much when you actually land, and then you land on the surface, you put on your spacesuit, and go down, and now you just explore the planet's surface. And as far as I can tell right now, there weren't really a lot of enemies on the first planet that I landed on. There are fellow members of your space unit that have already gone off to these different planets, and they've, you have to find them and kind of help, like, get them together to figure out what exactly is going on, what's the mystery. That statue was really weird. What's going on with that? Can we get our space program up and going so we can actually inhabit these other planets and explore further into the cosmos? So I find these one guys, and you have a tool to help locate different entities, different people, different things that in particular you want to find. And what's cool is each one of the people that you're trying to find emits like a musical instrument of some sort. Like the one guy I found he had like a banjo noise strumming coming from him. If you like look out into the sky, you can kind of hone in like in the far, far, far distance. You can hear like a drum guy. There's someone who's singing. There's like all sorts of other musical instruments that are being played. And I haven't gotten this far yet, but apparently it's one of the cool things, and nobody's spoiled any of this yet, but you want to try to find all those guys and get them together. Which I imagine there's going to be like a big band or jam session
Right.
at the end. So I find these guys. So I find my one guy, and he's near the corpse of this giant like mushroom-looking thing. And he's like, oh, this is weird, blah, blah, blah. And he said like a lot of technical mumbo-jumbo, which I didn't really understand all that much. And I was just like, okay, well, that's cool, but now what? So I was trying to look around for one of those statue things, but it was a big planet, so I was wandering around a lot. I wasn't getting very far, and I was like, you know what? I need to take a break. So I got up, and I went, got myself a drink, and I was like, I was thinking like, oh, yeah, this game's pretty interesting. And I'm like looking at the screen as I'm taking a drink, and then all of a sudden there's off on the side, there's a flash of white light that spreads across the screen that just takes over everything. And then I restart back at the campsite.
What?
Here, it was a supernova that went off. and it destroyed everything. And here, Justin, is the rub of the game. You have 22 minutes each time you come back at the start of the campfire, and you explore as much of space as you can for that 22 minutes before that star explodes again into a supernova, and then you start again at the campsite. So it's a time mechanic.
I do hate those. That's really strange. Is there a reason for that?
Apparently, like, the supernova that they know is coming is the reason why they have that space program going, as much as, like, that's why they're focused so much on it, is because they want to try to escape from the supernova. So what you have to do essentially is explore these other planets, and within each 22-minute time slot, I mean, like, I don't mind the time mechanic as much because it was similar to something like Minish Cap, where you, not Minish Cap, Majora's Mask. Yes, that's what I meant. So you just, like, yeah, you have the time constraint, but you just explore in a certain direction. Like, you have a given time to do as much as you can. If it's a dead end, then time resets, and now you can say, okay, I already explored that portion. I don't have to waste my time there anymore. I can go towards this other area. And usually the world is populated enough where there's something to see, there's something to discover each time you go out there and you go in a direction to try to find something.
But are there things that you can, like, that you would be in the middle of doing, like a puzzle or something that supernova could, like, screw up? And
it's 100% possible, yes. Yeah, that's extremely likely. So the only thing I could say for something like that is when the supernova goes off in the middle of the puzzle, just, like, as soon as you come back, get to your ship, blast off to that planet, get to where the puzzle is as soon as you can, and then, yeah, you already know some of the solution up to that point. Just whittle it back down to where you had it, and then proceed from there.
Is there a timer that tells you when the supernova is going to come?
No, there is not. No, there is not.
Wow.
So you just have to go. You have to go, explore, and hopefully you will stumble across more of those statues because, again, they will save your progress. So let's say you do go and you solve that puzzle, and behind that puzzle is one of the statues. It reads your mind, it shows you all the shit you've done up to that point. Next thing you know, you die, the supernova goes off, you're back at the campsite, but that puzzle is now solved. Like, it's locked in. You don't have to do that again. So they do at least provide some mechanism for not having to always do the same thing over and over again.
I don't like that time mechanic, but I'm still so intrigued in this game that I'm still going to get it and play it and just, work with it because
I honestly think you should because it's really, really fun. Like, it is a blast to play. It is very atmospheric. It just, like, it's got a fun charm. I love the art design of the game. Like, it's got a fun goof. It's not, like, overly goofy, but it's it's just, like, fun without taking itself, like, too serious. It's not taking itself too serious. It has that right balance between, like, being too moody and being too goofy.
Yeah.
Like, it's, really, really, really great game. I highly recommend it.
Awesome. I definitely want to check it out.
All right. So that was really the only game that I was able to play. So, Justin, I am going to pass this one back to you. What are you playing?
Well, Chris, like you, there was really only one big game I was playing since the last episode, and that was continuation of Mario Maker 2.
Nice.
I am having such a blast with this game so far. I don't remember if I mentioned last week, but I think Mario Maker 2, the new features of Mario Maker 2 are things that I I didn't know how much I wanted them in Mario Maker 1, I think. And it definitely was a case of certain features selling me and buying the games. I never bought the original Mario Maker. I only played it over at Nick's place or, other people's places.
Right.
But the story mode alone is awesome. Like, I'm having so much fun with it. It's like over 100 levels, like new Mario levels that are good, that are fun, that are challenging, that are creative. It's like stuff you wouldn't normally see in a Mario game. Levels that make use of the new building features that there are in Mario, like in Mario Maker, like you can swim on a dry bones shell now, or using slopes and the new seesaw and the new there's these clamp things that you can like grab and like.
I like the clamps.
Yeah, it's really cool. But each level that shows off how they work, they're just really creative and really well thought out. And the problem with me when you're on Mario Maker and you're playing, just the endless mode of levels that were uploaded online, is that like you'll play a great level and like, oh, I know that was fun, it was challenging, I'm ready for the next one, and the next one's just utter horse shit, and it just like it like kind of kicks the wind out of your sail. It really like kills momentum, And when you're in story mode, you don't witness that at all. It's every level is great. It's fun. Some are easy. Some are tough. None of them are like super challenging. None of them are Kaizo or anything like that. So if you're experiencing, or if you're wanting to experience that, you're not going to find it here.
Now, are these all the same levels? Like, if I were to start playing story mode, would I encounter the same levels that you're encountering?
Yes, these levels are all like baked into each game, but yeah, there's a lot. There are, I think there's over 100, and there's like bonus levels too that you don't necessarily, to my knowledge, need to play to complete the story mode.
Right.
But I'm trying to 100% everything.
Yeah. Plus, a true Mario fan always has to complete the bonus levels.
Yeah.
You got to get through Star Road.
Of course. And the in between the levels of story mode is really cool too, because there's like a 3D, like a 2.5D layout that you're at, where you play as Mario dressed in the Mario Maker costume, and you're helping these toads build Peach's castle. But you kind of can like run around and find little secret areas and find different people that offer different levels, and
nice.
It's just fun, and of course like the writing's great and everything, and my process now is like I'll be at work and then I'll come home and then I'll go to the gym or something, and then like I'll hang out, and then like maybe like an hour before bed I just play like 6 or 7 levels in story mode. And it's great. Like, I'm just having such a good time playing it. And making levels is awesome. Using the touchpad works really well. I haven't tried making a level using the Joy-Cons yet, but it doesn't look like it's that different or that much harder to do.
Right.
I did play through the first endless mode, which is when you play online courses. I did the easy one, which was way too easy. Like some of these levels were like go through a pipe, come out the other end on top of the flag at the end of the level, and you beat it.
Yeah. So, I mean, some of those types of levels can be cool just from like showing off, like, oh, here's all the different like designs you can go, like, oh, you could, like, how complicated can you make the Mario Maker level look without actually like. You do want some sort of challenge, but a lot of these people just kind of want to show off a lot of times. As long as it's not literally just like a straight pipe going from the beginning all the way to the end, which would be super lame. Or even like the auto scroll levels where you have like the music playing and it's just like, oh, just stand on this platform and you move all the way to the end and like a song is somehow being played by all the ambient Mario noises.
I was just going to say that those levels, too, you can see everything going on in the background. And, something like that takes forever to put together, so you really can appreciate that.
Right.
I tried to play a little bit online, but I wanted to do the 4-person when you play together and, like, you go through a level.
Uh-huh.
but I was having problems connecting to the internet to do that, and I don't want to blame Nintendo's servers or anything because I'm personally having some internet troubles right now at home with a crappy modem and stuff. So I think it might have been more on my end. But I have been seeing people tweeting about connectivity issues with online right now, and it's very, very laggy. So, I'm hoping that's getting fixed soon. And I'm sure it will be because, I'm still surprised how popular of a game Mario Maker 1 was for the Wii U, which was the system that only, 10 million or 11 million sold, very poor numbers. It was considered a failure, but not only of how popular that game was, but the community it spawned of just people that, there are people out there now that make their living just playing Mario Maker, like specifically Mario Maker, which is crazy to me. It's just speedrunners love it, casual fans love it. Like it's a game that appeals to everybody, and I think it's so great to pop it on the Switch. I don't know, it's awesome. I think everybody should have Mario Maker 2 in their Switch library.
Yeah, I want to pick that up real soon as I get some of that cash money. But yeah, I was actually was playing it a little bit when I was over at Elena's place, and we were playing some Mario Maker, and man, like the creativity of some of those people is just incredible.
Oh yeah.
I saw we were playing a lot of the more popular courses at the time, and one of them was based off of Super Metroid, and it was so clever and so well done. Like I was gushing about this. It like started you off, and it had like the Mario blocks shaped as Samus's ship.
Oh, nice.
And then it was designed so you had to like make your way down the platforms like you do at the start of Super Metroid. You had like the Beatles walking around each platform.
That's awesome.
Yep, and then you start out like it gives you all these power ups. You get the Fire Flower, you have the Starman, you have all of that like at the start, and naturally the Starman wears off. But then at the very bottom of the pit, you've got the two. Like, what are the flowers called? That like they're like real tiny.
Yeah.
They just bite upwards.
Oh man, I should know what they're called. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You land on them, and you have to lose all your powers because the space to escape is only the size of Tiny Mario.
Right.
So once you lose all your powers and you're reduced to Tiny Mario, you can then escape, but then you have to get all your powers back. So you go through the pipe, and there's like a hub world with all these pipes going to different places, and it shows you like there's like little windows in each one showing you, oh, if you go through this pipe, you'll get the big mushroom. If you go through that pipe, you'll get the fire flower. And it was just so well done because
wow.
you could only go through one of those pipes at a time. Like you already had to get the big mushroom to get to the fire flower stage, and then to get to the Starman stage, you needed the fire flower. So they had everything segmented and broken out perfectly. They had like this big fight with Bowser at the end where he was like Ridley, and it was just so clever. I was literally every single thing I saw in that, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and Elena was sitting there like, all right. Okay, like for her, if she were making the annoying character list at the end of this podcast, that would be me because I was being very annoying. I was like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. She's like, I see it. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That game, like the creativity that people have on display is just incredible.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Just the community in general. I mean, what can be created, whether it's an awesome standard Mario level, a really creative level like that, a crazy Kaiju level, or complete and utter horse shit. It's all there, and it's fun either way. And yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so moving on. Before we get to Indie Arcade, I did want to talk about a little bit of news In the last 2 weeks, in between podcasts, Nintendo unveiled some new hardware.
They did. They released they released the news that they were going to be releasing a Nintendo Switch Lite, which had long been rumored that they were going to release a handheld only version of the Switch. So here it is. It's a smaller screen. The Joy Cons are locked into the system, so whatever you can't take them out. You can't dock the system as you can with the traditional Switch. It's got a longer battery life though. It's got an actual D-pad instead of just the four directional buttons on the left side. So this game is this console is coming out in the fall. I think it's time to release around the same time as Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Right.
So this is definitely a system, and it's I think it's $100 cheaper than the regular Switch. It's $199. So this is something that's marketed for children and also for people like me who really prefer to play the Switch in handheld mode most of the time. So I think it's a really great idea business-wise for Nintendo to release this system. A lot of people are asking, a lot of people have been asking for this. For a lot of parents and families who maybe were balking at the original $300 price point, now you've got a $200 price point, which is much more reasonable for this system. You can give it to Billy and Janie and whoever else wants to switch. It's come in different colors. There's a Pokemon Sword and a Pokemon Shield model. There's also a kind of a turquoise color. There's a gray color. There's a piss yellow color. Yeah, there's a lot of options here, and I don't know, man. I think it looks really good.
It does look really good, and I was trying to remember a few episodes ago we did speculations of new Switch hardware. Do you remember where we kind of talked about what we thought might happen in the Switch Lite or a hypothetical Switch Lite and the Switch Heavy or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think we got some of it right. We definitely talked about the battery life, and we talked about the Joy-Cons being permanently attached. Handheld only. And yeah, just like you said, I think for the right person, this is, what people might have been waiting for. Some people might double dip and buy it again. The only thing that I don't think we have a solid answer to yet is if your game data will transfer between both. So if we were to buy a Switch Lite, would everything that we bought on the original Switch be playable on the Switch Lite without having to rebuy everything? I think it's like the number one question right now. I don't know if there's been a solid answer yet.
Right.
This is huge for Nintendo how they handle it. I can kind of see both ways because obviously they can make a lot more money if they make people buy games again, but also that's really lame.
Yeah, that's a shitty thing to do. It's super unethical. I would absolutely hope that they would make it easier to transfer games over. I know that they have the cloud backups for certain games, and if you have an online account already, so that's like another paywall. I mean, that we've talked about that ad nauseum. That's a feature that should be for all games, and that should be like right out of the box. That you have to pay extra for that is ridiculous. But it unfortunately is what it is at this point. But if they had something similar to, I guess, like when the Wii U first came out, you could transfer your Wii hardware, you could transfer your Wii data over to the Wii U, and it was like this big, complicated like file transfer that essentially like it was a one-way street. Like you could not put that data back on the old system, I would not be thrilled if that was the option that they went with. Where yeah, you can do a data transfer, but your old Switch, yeah, that's like it's bricked. Like I
Yeah,
like
I
it would
can't
just
see that happening. That'd be
yeah
harsh.
it would be like I just don't get it. Like it would be so much easier if they just allowed people to switch games from one system to the other. Like I don't see why Nintendo, they're such a big company, they have vast infinite resources, why they wouldn't be able to have a feature like that implemented. It really doesn't make any sense.
Perfect world, you sign into your already made Nintendo account on the Switch Lite. You go onto the eShop, and you could just re-download everything you've already bought.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Steam model. If I got a whole brand new computer tomorrow, and my computer today just completely bricked. I couldn't access a single thing off it. I could just go on that new computer, log into Steam, and all of my games are there. And I can just re-download them, and that's that. And Nintendo doesn't have a similar option, which I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand. But either way, so that was one of the models that they introduced. They also introduced a slight upgrade to the OG Switch model, which I don't really necessarily know if there was any change except to the battery life.
Yeah, so this one might have snuck by you in the news, but yes, a new SKU of the original Switch is coming out. And like you said, the only difference, Chris, is that the battery life is significantly better.
Right.
It's still the same price. The packaging looks slightly different on the box, but it's still the same system. It just has a longer battery life. Certain games, it's still different for different games. Like if you played Breath of the Wild, you would get 5 hours out of it on the new one, whereas the old Switch, you would get about 3.5 hours out of it or something.
Right.
But indie games, you might get like 9-10 hours out of it. That's great. I thought that they could do something where they release the actual battery and you could buy and upgrade your current Switch itself, because I don't know who the heck would shell out another $300 to buy another Switch just for a couple hours extra battery life.
I mean, it might be for people, I guess, who thought that the initial Switch unit, like, oh, I'm paying $300 for this thing, and I'm only getting this much battery life, versus now, it's like, okay, well, for that much battery life, I guess $300 is more reasonable. But still, for a whole new model of the Switch, you're only improving the battery life for the same price. I feel like there should be more under the hood improvements to make that more enticing. Like, yeah, better battery life is certainly really good, but maybe I don't know, make it a more powerful unit somehow. It has higher processing power or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just maybe get a little more efficient. Maybe, I don't know, God forbid, fix the Joy-Con drifting issue that a lot of people are running into, to the point where, more news, they've got a class action lawsuit going because it's not just someone's cousin or someone's third brother twice removed, which I don't even know how that works on a family tree. Yeah. But a lot of people, a significant portion, not a majority, but a significant portion of people are having issues with the Joy-Con drifting, which is inexcusable. That should be an issue that a couple people here or there run into and Nintendo can fix very easily. But for so many people to run into this issue, that there's no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse. That's shitty. That's just pure shitty.
I'm running into it myself. I had this problem where it just kind of moves on its own sometimes. It's very frustrating. I've done some online tutorials where you can kind of clean out the dust, because dust is what apparently is what causes the problem. Is that dust will get build up on the little flap underneath the joystick, and that can cause the drifting. And you're supposed to kind of clean it out with a compressed air can. And I did do that, and it worked for a little bit, but now it's starting to happen again. And you're right, you shouldn't have to do that.
You should not have to.
Especially when these things are $80 a pop. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
God, that's absurd.
Yeah.
Just absolutely absurd. Oh, they released they have new Joy-Con colors.
Yeah.
The new colors coming out. Yeah.
Maybe I'll buy two. Yeah.
The cycle continues. But yeah.
Going back real quick to the upgraded Switch with better hardware, more processing power.
Yeah.
I think that's still coming. I think they're going to wait a little bit for that, maybe next year. That might come out to Switch Heavy or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. Switch Fat.
Yeah. That one I might consider buying again because that's a little more appealing to me.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you can't blame them for putting these out. When you think about how many different SKUs of the DS, the 3DS, when they all came out.
It's their style. That's what they do.
People will buy them. So.
Like hotcakes.
Yeah.
People buy multiple versions. Like, here's a Zelda themed one. Oh, here's a Pokemon themed one. An Animal Crossing themed one. People will scoop these bad boys up. What not to digress too much, but what I'd really like to see them do is beef up the software side, like have customizable wallpapers, theme music, SNES games for their online library for retro games. But again, I digress. So this is the part where you tell me to talk about my indie arcade.
That's right. So I will just go ahead and do that. Let's see.
How to segue. We're 93 episodes in, folks. We're professionals. I think it was Dave, friend of the podcast, who told us professionals get paid, which we absolutely do not.
All right, let's take that again. That's it for the news, which brings us to the Indie Arcade.
Indie Arcade.
If you remember, last episode I assigned Chris the game Slime Rancher to play. Chris, tell us about it.
Justin, Slime Rancher fucking rules.
Yeah?
That game is awesome.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I dropped into Slime Rancher, and I really don't think it's got all that much of a plot to it, except, you're 1,000 light years from Earth, which you think like, oh man, that's pretty far. That's really not that far. Like in the grand scheme of space, like 1,000 light years is not so far away.
How far away is the sun?
That's 93 million miles. So
and you flew into it.
I flew into it. That was a whole different game, a whole different experience. But no, you are 1,000 light years from Earth. You are on a remote outpost where, for reasons that I don't know, and I didn't really, frankly, care to look up.
Explained, right?
It doesn't have to be explained. I already knew going in. The game is called Slime Rancher. I'm ranching slimes. So, okay, got it. So I start out, and again, it's a first-person experience. It's got a really nice color palette to it. Like, it reminded me, it kind of reminded me almost like Overwatch-ish, kind of. And the slimes that you encounter, they're all like, I mean, if you saw them in real life, it would probably scare the living hell out of you. But each of these things looked like they were about a foot by 2 feet. No, a foot by 1 foot. Like, they were rounded, and the slimes that you first encounter are pink slimes.
Okay.
So what you have to do is you've got your ranch, right? And you have to slowly build up the ranch. Like, you can create little pens to contain the slimes, which are not very effective, which I'll get into in a second. So you catch the slimes, you go out there, and you have like a little vacuum backpack, right? And it's got two options. It can suck and it can blow. So, I find the slimes. And, I mean, it's very, very easy to find the slimes because it's first, like, when you start out, it's kind of like you're in the middle of, like, a rocky desert outpost, kind of, that just to kind of, like, set the stage a little bit. So there's lots of different directions you could go, but one gate is like gated off and it says, oh, to go this way you need to pay like 7,500 coins. To go this way you need to pay 10,000 coins. So I'm like, okay, so that's all walled off at the moment.
So you got to unlock your path.
Exactly. So I only have one path right now, that's forward. Let's go. So I go forward and there are just pink slimes everywhere, and they're bouncing around, and they've got little beady eyes, but like happy smiling faces, and they're literally just bouncing around, and they're eating like different food that pops up. There was like a nest of chickens, and it was weird because like the slimes were like all gathered around the nest, and the chickens would like pop up out of the nest. Like imagine like there was a hole in the ground, and then it just went, and a chicken like popped up into the air.
Okay.
And then the slimes would just literally like converge on the chicken, and you hear, and then like it's just like one of the slimes eats it, and then after the slime eats the chicken, a little like gem, like a glowing pink gem, pops out of the slime's head. Now those little gems are key. So what you have to do is you have 4 slots on your vacuum backpack to have 4 different types of items stored on you at any one time. So you can use the suction ability to suck in the slimes, and you can carry up to 20 of them. Then you suck in their gems, which are called, what are they called? They're like plots or something. It doesn't matter. They're like little gems. So you suck those up. And what you do then, and what you can also do is there's food everywhere. So those chickens that pop up, if you catch one of them, you can catch a chicken. There's carrots lying over there. You can suck those up. There's fruit hanging off a tree. Suck that up. All of it's food. So you go back, take all this stuff, suck it up, go back to the ranch. And you just literally dump all the slimes out into the pen that you have saved up. You can shoot them in to the pen with a lot of force, but they can't break out of it. So that's what keeps them contained in there. Then you just toggle over to like this section where you have carrots, and you fire a bunch of carrots in there. And the slimes will eat the carrots, they'll be happy, and they'll poop out these gems. So then you go in there and you suck up the gems, and then next to your house...
So you're collecting slime poop.
Yes, it is very valuable poop,
Okay.
though, because you have kind of like a... It's called like this plot market or something, like a gem market, and it's like a long I don't know how to describe it, like a module that shows all the different gem types that there are in Slime Rancher.
Okay.
And there's a receptacle, and what you do, the blow option, you shoot the gems into the receptacle, and the little board that's up there that shows all the gems, it also has a little coin counter next to it. And what happens is each day, that coin counter, it could go up, it could go down, or it could stay flat. So
Like a stock market kind of thing?
exactly. So there are certain gems where you could be like, oh, I got something here that's pretty rare. I could cash this in now. Or I can hold on to it, take the chance that tomorrow the price is going to go up, and then cash in on them and really rake in the dough. So that's really primarily the money-making mechanic. So I switch over to all the pink poop, and I shoot it into the receptacle, and each one of them was worth like 6 coins each. So that's 7 coins that now is deposited into my account. So then at that point, it's just a matter of going back out there, finding more of them, bring them back, feed them, suck up their shit, put it in their receptacle, get the coins. Now with the coins that you build up, you all of a sudden realize, okay, you're sucking up all the slimes, you're putting them in the one pen. This one pen is getting very full up, right? There's way too many slimes in this one pen. So you have other like little plots of land where you have the option to buy upgrades to your ranch. Like you can buy more pens, you can also buy gardens, you can buy what else? You can buy like little chicken coops for keeping chickens in. So you can have it set up so that you don't have to worry about finding food for your slimes. It's just all literally right there. Okay. And you also have to make sure that your slimes are in a livable space, because otherwise the slimes, no, they can't go through the walls, but they can stack and climb on top of each other. And if enough of them are like swarmed together, and they can hop. So they can hop over the top of the pen, which does not have a roof over it.
Oh, they can escape.
They can escape. So then you have to go around, suck them up, and put them back in the pen.
How do you prevent them from escaping?
You can't.
Oh.
So the best way to prevent them from escaping is to have enough pens so that they can't like literally stack on top of each other and then jump out. So if they're all spread out, they can't escape then at that point.
So there's no overcrowding like the American judicial or jail system.
You know, I wasn't going to go there, but you know, here we are. Yeah, no. You know what? No, I don't want to go there. So just know I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Not one little bit. So, yeah. So Slime Rancher. That's a video game that I'm playing, and as you progress further, like you can progress past the area where the pink slimes are, and you can find rock slimes, and they're just what they described, that they're blue, but they also have like little rocks sticking out of them, and if you feed them, what can happen? And yeah, I didn't even get to that. So if you feed the pink slimes enough, the like little pink slimes, if you feed them enough, they will grow.
Oh.
They will grow big. And then at that point, you can't actually like suck them up into your backpack. What you can do though is suck them up and like hold them. So you can like hold them onto the end of your nozzle, then bring them back to your ranch, and then shoot them into a pen.
Okay.
And yeah, that's how you can collect them there. But you know, obviously the downside is as you've got
only
them.
One
hold
at a
on.
time.
Yeah, you can only do one at a time, and you can't collect anything else at
Right.
all. And also, these sons of bitches are really hard to keep together in the pen, because if you put them in with a bunch of the other slimes, like the other slimes can very easily jump on top of the big slime and escape there. The big slime has mad hops, and it can like jump over the fence pretty easily, because it can jump on the little slimes, and if they're jumping up, he can jump on him and then like bounce off there.
Right.
So it's very hard to keep them contained. My ranch is a mess, Justin. There's slimes all over the place, and I'm at my wit's end.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's you can also get better supplies from some of the people who are assisting you like remotely with your slime ranch. And they'll tell you like, oh, you know, like here's Gertrude, and Gertrude will have like her own receptacle. And she'll say, oh, get me these items here. And it'll be like a gem from a rock slime, 4 chickens, and like a bunch of carrots. And if you get me all of those things, then I will provide you with these things. And it's like a rooster, fancier gems from slimes that you haven't found yet, a different source of food that you can provide for your slimes. So you're like, okay, I can do that. And you have a time limit to provide all that stuff. So it motivates you to get out there and explore more and try to find these different items so you can get better stuff. So that's really, that's really the gist of the game right there, is just find the slimes, manage your ranch, try to keep everything organized, try to keep your slimes happy, because man, let me tell you, it is stressful, because this pink slimes always have that happy smiley face when you bring them in. You go into your ranch, like, it's a day-night cycle, so when it gets late at night, you have to go to your ranch and go to sleep. You wake up the next morning, and you'll see all these slimes. Most of them are out of their cage, they're bouncing around, and they've all got, like, frowny, like, cringy faces on because they're hungry. They need to be fed. So I'm like, oh, no. So I'm like, okay, suck you guys up, put you in here. My carrots grew in, so I'm like, okay, good. I suck all them up, shoot them out there, but it's not nearly enough carrots, so I have to go out, find more food, and keep them all managed, because I've got all these hungry mouths to feed. And it's a lot, Justin. It's a lot. But
it definitely sounds like it. So, would you say it's like a challenging game over addicting, or is it addicting over challenging, or like a meet in the middle kind of thing?
it's kind of it's a good mix, I would say. It's not. I guess it's not like necessarily hard. I guess. Well, it is hard. Like, again, trying to keep all the slimes managed, knowing, like, I've definitely learned you can't just you can't just suck up every single slime and bring them to the ranch and keep them there. You have to be smart about, like, okay, I have a bunch of slimes on my ranch already. Just manage the ones that I have without just bringing in more and trying to incorporate them into the ranch. You can't take care of all of them at the start. You have to just let a good majority of them just run wild and be free. There are some too, like the rock slimes. When you feed them, they will grow big, and then the big slimes, they can actually roll up into balls with all the rocky spikes sticking out, and they can roll into you and they can hurt you if they feel threatened. So yeah, you can. So you have like a sprint ability and you have health, so you can run to different areas as fast as you can. You can get out of there if you need to. And also, like, a lot of these guys, like, they can hurt you. Like, you can die in this game. So there is certainly a challenging aspect to it, but it is a lot of fun. Like, it is fun, like, being able to suck up the slimes and suck up the money and, just try to upgrade your ranch. Like, it's honestly the type of game that Nick, I think, would really, really love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a game, like, because you can just, like, you kind of go at your own pace. Like, you don't have to, like, go too crazy. And that type of, like, farming thing that I think would really, really appeal to
farming.
Nick. Slime farming, yep. So, yeah, Slime Farmer. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. Like I said, that's a game I wanted to check out as well. I definitely see where you're coming from with, like, just a really fun game to play where you're kind of like, you can get lost in the zone of how the game works and the mechanics and everything. And it sounds like it has like a cool presentation and a fun little sense of humor too. So yeah, it sounds awesome. I'm really glad that you liked it.
Yeah, it was a really good time. I really appreciate you giving me that one, Justin.
All right. Well, I hope you continue that generosity here. Remember, I do have some new powers bestowed upon me from Elena, so just keep that in mind.
Yes, you and your goddamn fairly one privilege. Yes, yep. I'm well aware, which is why, Justin, I'm not giving you a bad game this time around. I am continuing my generous recency of giving you good games to play. This is a game that has been on my radar for quite some time. Yet again, I'm giving one of these games to you to play because
Okay.
I don't know what's wrong with me. So, Justin, this is a game which I'm sure you are well aware has been on my radar for quite some time now. This game, Justin, your indie arcade for this week is My Friend Pedro.
Hey, all right.
My Friend Pedro is a violent ballet about friendship, imagination, and one man's struggle to obliterate anyone in his path at the behest of a sentient banana. The strategic use of split aiming, slow motion, and the old stylish window breach create one sensational action sequence after another in an explosive battle through the violent underworld.
Yeah, so this is a Devolver game. It's been in the works for quite some time. I think it was shown off a couple of years ago initially. But yeah, it looks awesome. It's like a side-scrolling shooter game with crazy physics. You can slow down time, almost like a Max Payne kind of style of thing.
Right.
And, you're just kind of dodging out of the way out of like these crazy bullet hells. You can move both your arms independently of each other, and they each have a gun, obviously. And you can kind of shoot in two different directions and like maybe like kill two different people 2 different times.
Right.
And I know like the levels are crazy. Like there's like one level when you're like falling out of a giant skyscraper and like you're just shooting people as you're falling to the ground. Like,
Which, I mean, it feels like overkill. Like,
yeah. Well, I think that's probably the whole idea of the game is this complete balls to the wall nonsense.
Yeah.
But,
What, a Devolver game being over the top?
but yeah, it looks awesome. I've been intrigued ever since I first saw it. I think it was in a Nintendo stream actually because it is also available on the Switch.
Correct.
Which I will probably be playing it on there. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm reading it off of Steam right now.
Yeah.
So it's also available on PC. It's available, as you said, on the eShop. Yeah, this game, like, it's been on my radar for a long time. The PAR account on Twitter, I follow. I like a lot of the My Friend Pedro stuff that they've been posting. So this is one that I've been wanting to get for a while, and now, Justin, you are going to get for right now. And also, I gotta say, like, the graphics look really, really cool. They remind me a lot. The art style and also the 2D-ness of it reminds me a lot of Little Nightmares.
Oh yeah, that's actually a really good comparison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like that same kind of the same character models, the same like lighting and use of shadows, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but definitely, I'm super excited to play that, and that'll be perfect for me to play on the Switch.
All right, so that is My Friend Pedro. Look forward to Justin's review on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, very much. In the meantime, we are going to take a quick break, but when we return, we will talk about some incredibly annoying video game characters.
Annoying.
Just like that. Welcome back to Press A Repeatedly. Justin Thompson here with Christopher Gold, and we are about to talk about some of the most annoying characters in video games that we have played throughout our lifetime. Obviously, this will be a massive list, and different people might think different characters are annoying. This is just some of characters that we find annoying in games that we've played.
Right. This is by no means a comprehensive list. And again, this is all our opinions, but since it is our show, our opinions are facts.
Right.
So if you disagree with any of these, well, then tough cookies. Although a lot of these characters that we're going to name, or at least that I'm going to be naming, are universally, I think, considered very annoying. So I don't think we're going to run into any issues here. Now, Justin, what makes a character annoying to you?
Okay, great question. So, I think mostly it's dialogue, frequency of when they talk to you, maybe if they're interrupting you, or if they always just show up in places where you don't want them to. Maybe it's the dialogue itself, how they speak. Maybe they have like weird mannerisms, or a really weird accent. Maybe voice acting isn't particularly great if it's involved. Maybe it's not even voice acting. Maybe it's just writing of inflections of speech. But just really annoying ways of speaking. Really annoying habits that the character might inhibit. Repetitiveness of a character, a poorly fleshed out character, a boring character. Like, there's a lot that can go into being an annoying video game character.
Right, it's just that right mix, that it's not any one thing, it's a lot of things that can really it's the secret formula to making this really, really annoying character. So, yeah, I agree with you. There's definitely a lot that can go into a character being annoying. So I'm going to stop beating around the bush. I'm just going to get things started. So
go for it.
The first character that really comes to mind, I think, when anyone thinks of an annoying character, probably the classic annoying video game character, has to be Navi from Ocarina of Time. Hey, listen!
That's pretty good.
Yep, thank you. So Navi is, she's your fairy guide who tells you all about the different enemies that you encounter. She helps you lock on to enemies when you're fighting, and that's all great. She can be very annoying at the start of the game. Especially when you're in the first dungeon, the Great Deku Tree, which is really just a training for the rest of the game. And she's telling you, you can push this block, you can pull that block, you can climb up, always pay attention to A, and she's telling you all these different things. Yes, that's annoying at the start. And if you've played the game many, many times, then yes, it's annoying because you already know what to do. But not everyone knows what to do when they're first starting out, sometimes you need a helping hand. I don't mind that too much.
Yeah.
It's the rest of the game. As you're running around, it's it's a relatively open world game before open world really was even a term in video games. And you're exploring Hyrule, you're doing whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. And, you're doing some fishing. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Navi's, hey! Not now, Navi. Hey! And she has to chime in to let you know, hey, listen, I think we need to go to Death Mountain to find, to find the next key or whatever. Right. And I'm like, I know, I'm on it. I'll get to it. Justin, nowhere to lie. One time, I was climbing up Death Mountain. Yeah. Now, you remember, As you're going up one of these paths, the volcano is erupting, Death Mountain is erupting, and all these
Like
flaming rocks,
boulders, yeah.
flaming boulders are raining down on you, and you have to literally cower under your shield as these rocks are exploding.
Yeah.
As I'm climbing the mountain and I'm getting pelted by flaming boulders left and right, and I'm hiding, and Navi's like, "Hey!" And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "I think you need to climb Death Mountain to talk to the thing that's up there." I'm like, "Where the hell do you think I am?"
Screaming while holding this shield over your head and rocks bursting on top of you.
I mean, literally, as I talked to her, a rock was exploding on my back, so it was a mid-explosion, and she's telling me this. So I'm literally surrounded by fire, holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
And she interrupts me with this shit. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, Navi, can you please not?"
You're right. She's the quintessential annoying video game character. Everyone has jokes about it. But it was funny. As I remember, the first time I played Ocarina of Time, when I was younger, when it came out, I never really paid too much thought into her being that annoying.
Right.
The hey popping up definitely was a little annoying, but aside from that, I didn't hate having her around. Sometimes the clues were actually helpful. It wasn't until it became a thing that Navi is very annoying that I begin to realize how bad she was. And now when I play Ocarina of Time, I can't
Yeah.
I can't not see that. She's definitely a huge pain in the ass.
What also makes her really annoying, and it's not necessarily her fault, this is Nintendo's fault, is the ability to free look is C up,
Yeah.
which is also the same button that Navi uses to communicate with you.
Right.
So there are times where she wants to tell you something, but if you want to look up, you have to make her say what it is she wants to say, or you just want to look, and then as you're about to look, Navi's like, "Hey," and then you have to listen to whatever spiel she's about to say, and then you can go back to free looking around.
Yeah.
So and that's a control issue. That,
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with Navi, the character. That's just programming.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't think there's really anything more we could say on Navi, so I will move on to my first annoying character, and I am going to go with Luke from Tales of the Abyss.
Ooh.
Now, I'm pretty sure I talked about Luke at some point earlier on in our show, but must have been a long time ago, so I'll just reiterate.
Yes.
Luke is a huge pain in the ass. In JRPGs and RPGs, you normally have a party, and you normally have a good amount of people that you're going on this adventure with together. The problem is, Luke was the main character of Tales of the Abyss, i.e., you play as Luke. I mean, you can swap around between characters, but you start as Luke. The story really is about Luke. It's Luke. Luke is a whiny, spoiled brat that just completely complains about every single thing that he has to do to everybody in the party. The party can't stand him. He doesn't understand why they can't stand him. He's one of those people that starts to get annoyed when you kind of call him out for being annoying, so he becomes more annoying.
It's like a serpent eating its tail.
Yeah. In a JRPG that already is very dialogue heavy, he was really, really bothering me playing that game. Fortunately, this all has to do with the main story of the game. I won't go into full details, mainly because I don't fully remember how everything played out, but Luke does go through a transformation about halfway through the game where he kind of realizes that he needs to kind of step up and be more of this hero. And at that point, he becomes a much more tolerable character. and that was such a relief because I was like at the point of almost stopping playing Tales of the Abyss
Oh man.
because Luke was such a whiny little asshole.
Yeah, man, I've been there. The JRPG protag who is just like a piece of shit. Yeah, no, I hear you. No, I told you. In fact, the whole impetus for this topic, the whole reason we you proposed this was I don't even remember her name. She was that annoying little girl from oh Christ, it was
Question of mana? Mana?
yeah, yes. Sorry, I had like a
Oh, yeah.
huge brain fart.
It's fine.
Yes. So yeah, it again same thing. Like she's just like annoying and just obnoxious and yeah, like JRPGs seem to be littered with
Yeah.
those types.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it didn't kill the game for me, thankfully. I still very much enjoy Tales of the Abyss. I think the supporting cast, for the most part, is really good. There's a younger girl character who's very annoying too, but we kind of talked about like kids in games that are kind of annoying as well. That's usually the case.
Right. You just don't like kids in general.
Yeah,
though.
that's also true. But hey, I like Atreus from God of War, so
That is true. He was a good kid.
even though he had his moments, let's be honest.
But those he had to have those moments for the
Yeah.
story. Not spoiling anything.
But yep, that's Luke. Let's throw it back to you.
My next character, Justin, I could not let this list go without slipping Fee onto this list.
Yeah.
There was not a chance in hell, not a shot. I hate Fee. I hate Fee with the passion of a million suns. She is just the worst. The worst. I thought a lot of people thought Navi would be the worst Zelda helper character that you could get. How could it possibly get worse? Fee is the answer. She is, of course, the companion character to Link in Skyward Sword. She has a very robotic, like, monotone way of talking. Like, she doesn't have a personality that's by design. So already that's very annoying that she can't really show any emotion or express herself in any way. She's constantly telling you, like, oh, master, I think there's a 70% chance if you do this, then that will happen. If, you follow this path, then there's an 85% likelihood that you'll find Zelda. And it's like, okay, great, thanks. That one path that I can go down, that's the path that I need to go. The camera, like, oh, you'll go into a room, the door will slam shut, and then the camera will pan up to a door, and it's like, okay, well, that door must be the exit. As soon as that cutscene ends, Fee pops out. Master, there's a 90% likelihood that if you go through that door, you will exit the room. And I'm like, I know Fee. Like, I know all of this. Like, just her trying to explain and instruct on every single little thing, like the hand holding. That's what really got me with Fee, is how much hand holding there was, not just with Fee, but in that game in general.
Yeah.
But again, I digress. Fee was just like, there was no creativity there. There was nothing for me to latch onto. Like, I spent most of that game with Fee, but there was no, like, moment, there was no, like, touching, like, tender moment where I was like, oh, I feel like I'm really bonding with this character. It was nothing. Like, hours and hours and hours of a nothing burger. And people say, like, oh, at the end of that game when she goes, spoilers, when she goes away and she becomes the Master Sword and she's sealed away for all time, a lot of people talk about how like, oh, that was such an emotional scene. It was sad, and I was not for me. I was like, go, please leave. Like you're dragging this out. Goodbye. See ya. Thanks. Leave. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I felt nothing for the character because the character gave me nothing for all that time. Like I'm being serious. Like there was nothing for me there to feel for. And yeah, that was super annoying because I mean the Zelda franchise has had a lot of really good characters. Midna in the previous mainline game, she was one of my favorite characters in the whole Zelda franchise. She had a lot of personality. She was helpful when she needed to be.
Oh, yeah.
She was cool. And to follow her up with Fi, that left a really, really bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, no surprise that Skyward Sword is one of many people's least favorite Zelda games as well. But, yeah, so that was Fi. My next one is also kind of in an obscure JRPG. I'm a big fan of Tokyo RPG Factory. I played through I Am Setsuna and absolutely loved it. And I was so pumped for their next offering, Lost Sphere, which came out, I believe, last year. And I got it. I started playing it. And immediately one of the starting characters in your party is this kid named Locke. And Locke, I can't even call him a one-dimensional character. I almost want to call him a zero-dimensional character because he absolutely sucked. He was a kid that complained about how hungry he was every single time he talked. About no matter what the situation was, no matter what we were doing, if we just got out of a really tough battle, if we were lost in the overworld, he would somehow convert our situation into about how hungry he was at the moment and how he could eat so much of this enemy, or he's starving, so let's hurry up and get to the next town. And it was just the same trope for him literally every single time he spoke. It was so infuriating. It's not the only reason, but it's a very large reason as to why I stopped playing Lost Sphere.
It's like they're trying to tell the same joke over and over again,
yeah,
and it's just not landing. And it's like somebody who's like trying to tell that joke. Like the joke didn't work the first time, but it's like maybe they didn't hear me because I was hungry, right? You get it? Because I was hungry. It's like stop, just stop, please.
Yeah. Oh God, it was just brutal. And I'm not really being fair because I liked that game's mechanics even more so than I Am Setsuna. The battles are a little bit more interactive, and you have some cool new abilities that you can try. But I just couldn't really feel anything for not only Locke, but I just feel like the other characters that you start with too. They're just really not that fleshed out, and it was kind of hard to really give a shit, I guess, about what was going on.
Like these are the guys who are gonna save the world. Whatever.
Yeah. I would eventually like to one day go back and play through that again, but Locke sucks so much. And there's a lot of Locks in video game. You think of Locke from Final Fantasy VI, or maybe Locke's Quest. But this Locke is without a doubt the worst Locke.
The worst Locke.
What the fuck?
That doesn't even make sense.
This is the kind of quality podcasting you get here, pressing repeatedly.
Only the best, man. Only the best.
What do you got next?
All right, so I'm going to break things up a little bit right now. I'm not going to mention a Zelda character, although I could. I told Justin just before recording, we could have made this segment a list of Zelda characters.
Yeah.
But I'm going to break it up for just this one moment. I'm not going to mention a Zelda character. I'm going to mention a Resident Evil character, namely one very famous president's daughter. That is Ashley Graham from Resident Evil 4.
Help me, Leon!
Help me, Leon!
Save me, Leon! Leon!
You pervert! Like, her voice is just, sometimes I wake up in a cold sweat just hearing, "Help me, Leon!" It's just that screech that just drives me nuts. She's like any helper, escort mission in video games. Usually the escort character is a pain in the ass to have to deal with. And none, I feel like, more so than Ashley Graham.
Yeah.
She was, oh god, she was just useless. Like enemies would grab her and, help me, Leon, and drag her away, and you gotta go back and shoot the guys in the head, bring her back, and yeah, it's just, the cycle just would not stop. Was it you, I think, who was playing, or was it Bill, who left her by
Bill. Yeah.
It was Bill. Bill who left her by the ogre. Okay, they went into an enclosed area where a lot of those El Gigantes is what they called them. And Bill went into this area. He had Ashley with him. He was like, okay, wait here. I'm going to go to the other end. I'm going to scope it out, make sure it's all good. So he makes Ashley wait at the start of the room. He goes to the other end. All of a sudden, hears boom! Help me, Leon! He turns around, and an El Gigante had jumped down right in front of Ashley, just scooped her up and just slammed her right into the ground. And Leon is just oh no. Which is just, it's such an understatement. You just saw the president's daughter get smashed by this giant, freakishly tall, mutated man thing, and all I can think is, oh no.
President's gonna kill me.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to file so much paperwork.
Yeah, that was a classic gaming moment.
Yeah, man. But you know what? Ashley deserved it.
Yeah.
The end. What's your next one?
Let's see. I was going to talk about Fee initially, but I knew you were going to cover Fee because I know your hatred for Fee so much. Mm-hmm. So I'll let you field that one. I am going to go, though, with a support, information / tutorial character, much like Fee or Navi. I'm talking about Starlo from the Mario and Luigi series.
Interesting.
Starlo is this little, I guess it's supposed to be he's becoming a star, but he's not a star yet, so he's just a little yellow orb. Yeah, that kind of follows you around, and he's the one that gives you the tutorials and tells you where to go when you're lost or whatever. The problem was specifically with Mario and Luigi Dream Team, which came out on the DS. That was the fourth Mario and Luigi game. That game had a problem where it was very hand-holdy, and there was a lot of dialogue, almost too much dialogue. And both of those things involve Starla, where Starla would come in and tell you how to do things, even though you already knew how to do them. Starla would ask if you wanted to practice something every single time, even though you don't need to at this point. And whenever Starla was talking during a cutscene, it was just pressing A repeatedly to get through it.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so Starlo was definitely a huge pain in the butt. It made that game kind of tedious at times, just going through all the dialogue options and just kind of going through tutorials and stuff. So I don't look fondly back on Starlo. In fact, I was nervous about that happening again when Mario and Luigi Paper Jam came out. But, that game, fortunately, did not have those same issues. It had a shorter tutorial in the beginning and was definitely less hand-holdy, which I did appreciate. But, yes, I love the Mario and Luigi games. I think Alpha Dream does a great job. And they're known for having great characters, like Crackletta or Fawful. Yeah, I was blanking on his name. The Mustard of Doom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have Fury.
Yes, indeed. But Starlo was just not just like a boring, lame character that wasn't really funny or anything, and just like the nerdy person that's tagging along that you kind of don't really want there. And you kind of had the whole game with Starlo. So buckle up if you're getting ready to play Dream Team, because there's a lot of Starlo.
Yes. So my last character, who let's see, I'm going to list right now. Initially, let's see, I had 3 Zelda characters on my list of 4 annoying characters. I guess I could still talk about them.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. It was a very Zelda-heavy list. I want to break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I was initially going to break him up with talking about Vaughn, the protagonist from Final Fantasy XII.
Oh.
He was a very, very annoying little shit. For classic JRPG reasons, he was like whiny and emotional. He's like,
yeah.
But I'm not going to talk about him. I'm actually going to go back to Zelda, and I'm going to talk about Yunobo. Yunobo.
Oh!
The whiny Goron shit from Breath of the Wild.
I remember, so you had done that whole area before me, and you had warned me about Yunobo.
Yes.
And I went into that Death Mountain area, and I did everything with Yunobo, and I thought he was annoying, but I didn't think he was as annoying as you were making him out to be.
Right. I remember we had that discussion regarding Yunobo. I hated Yunobo. Like, I could not stand Yunobo. I'll admit, though, my feelings on Yunobo have mellowed a little bit, but again, it's been a while since I've played Breath of the Wild. Maybe that spark could rekindle, that fury could be inflamed again once I reintroduce myself to Yunobo. I do
remember you compared him to Baby Huey, and that was a very good
comparison. Yeah.
We both noticeably despise Baby Huey.
You much more than me. You hate Baby Huey much more than me, although I really do not like Baby Huey at all.
If Baby Huey was the only cartoon left in the world, I think I would kill myself.
That's fair. Baby Huey is the worst, but thankfully Baby Huey has not been relevant for a very, very long time. He has not appeared in anything. God, can you imagine if they decided to reintroduce that franchise?
Baby Huey movie?
A live-action Baby Huey starring oh God, I don't know, maybe Gabriel Iglesias as Baby Huey.
Oh God, it's perfect.
I'm not fat, I'm fluffy. Gabriel, you're better than this.
The target market for that movie would be kids. And no kids now even friggin' know who Baby Huey is.
Baby Huey, for anyone who doesn't know, is a giant, oversized duck. Literally, the size, I think, is an adult. Like,
Yeah.
I think is an adult duck in
He
a
wears
world
that
of other
stupid
adults.
baby cap, that stereotypical like fluffy
Yep,
baby
he wears
cap.
he wears a diaper, and he acts like pretty much is a man child, a duck child, I guess I should say.
That's enough. We don't need to discuss more Baby Huey on this podcast.
That's how annoying Baby Huey is. He's so annoying, we can't even include him on the annoying list because he annoys us so much. But yes, so Yunobo is the Goron Baby Huey. He's whiny, he's a chicken shit, he looks like Baby Huey, like physically looks like Baby Huey. And yeah, he's like, oh, I've got some growing up to do. Like, asshole, you're friggin' like got an apartment, you've got debts to pay, like, like you're well past that point. Like, you're a grown Goron now at this point.
I'm remembering that part where you have to kind of work with Baby Huey to get across, like some trust. I mean, Baby Huey, Baby
Yunobo.
God, he's in my head.
I was just gonna let that go. I thought you were just referring to him as Baby Huey, like naturally. Like, yeah, you gotta guide Baby Huey across the lava pit. It's the crossover no one wanted.
So, do you know what I'm talking about? Like, there's a part where
Yeah.
you have to like walk with him or something in timing, and if you mess it up,
Yes. Yeah, you have to whistle, and like he will walk for as long as you signal him to, and then he will freeze when you whistle him to stop.
yeah.
Yeah, so he will, he can avoid, like, there's, like, little sensors or things that are, like, trying to, like, catch him, so he has to sneak past them, and he's too stupid to use his own brain cells to know, like, oh, hey, I should go now, or I should wait. You know, he can't look, so he has to, like, completely rely on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Yunobo sucks.
Yeah, he definitely. The more I think about it, he sucks.
Yes. Baby Huey.
All right, that's all I got for right now. But there certainly are plenty of annoying characters in video games, and you know, tell us about them. Like, reach out to us, send us an email at parpodcast@gmail.com. I want to know some of your most annoying characters through games that you've played through. You know, maybe hit us up on Twitter. You can give us a little brief description. Maybe you love some of the characters that we find annoying. Maybe you want to make a case for how they're not annoying. I mean...
Yeah, maybe you love Yunobo. Maybe I don't want to hear that email. You know, send it anyway. You know, I'll read it. I'll read anything that's put in front of me.
Yunobo #1 fan club. That's probably out there, right?
Do we? Do we have a fan club? Do we have fans?
No, I mean a Yunobo fan club.
Oh yeah. I was okay. Yeah, no. I mean, there's got to be. I mean, people are into anything. Yeah.
Maybe Yunobo has more fans than we do.
You know what? I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be disappointed, but not shocked.
All right. Well, with that being said, that's all for this week. Remember, Press A repeatedly posts new episodes Tuesdays on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, and Spotify. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to rate and review the show, or tell your friends about us. It helps other people find the podcast and will really help us grow. And thank you to all who have rated, reviewed, and subscribed so far. We love you.
You can follow us on our Facebook page or on Twitter and Instagram. We are at PAR Podcast. I'm at CGold113, and Justin is at Oaf7724. You can email us any questions or comments at parpodcast@gmail.com. That's parpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to check us out on our website at pressarepeatedly.com. That's all for this week. Chris and Justin signing off. And remember to herd 1,000 smiling slimes into their adorable little cages. Press A repeatedly.